Hello and welcome to the final video of our 7-part rainbow series. Today we are going to be using the color purple, and I'm excited because purple is one of my favorite colors. I know I say that all the time, but I absolutely love purple. My birthday is in February. I'm an Aquarius, and purple or amethyst is the February birthstone. So I've just always kind of been drawn to the color purple. So this should be fun. I am just quickly gonna go through tools real quick. The tools part and the drawing on guide marks and all that will be the same as the other videos, so feel free to skip ahead if you already know this part. But we are going to be painting on this 10-inch square surface. This is a wood canvas from Michaels. I will link these in the description below. And then all other tools can be found in my Amazon shop, which I will also link in the description below. That can also be found by going to my website, which is thoughtfuldots.com, and then click on the Tools I Use tab, and that will take you directly to my Amazon shop. I will be using a 16-point mandala stencil and a compass and the Bresarth white charcoal pencil to draw on the guide marks. Nail stylus tools. I will also link a size chart for these in the description of the video so that you can know exactly what size my specific tools are, and then you can use the chart to convert to whatever set that you are using. And then I'll be using some dotting rods by Happy Dotting Company. These have the millimeter size right on the handle, which will make it super easy for you guys to follow along, or you can use that size to convert to whatever set of rods that you are using. We will also be using brushes. These are brushes by US Art Supply. These also have the number on the handle, so I will be sure to let you know what size we are using. And we will also be using some mirrors. I got this container at Michael's and then filled it with mirrors that I got from Amazon. Also available in my Amazon shop. And that is it as far as tools. So we'll just go through paint real quick. So today we are doing purple, but this is a rainbow series. It's also a chakra series. So I was looking at the chakra colors online, and a lot of them were like this magenta pink color. If you guys can see those. So I've decided to do purple with some magenta and pink. And I also just wanted to mention while we're looking at this that I've been getting some ideas for new patterns from looking at digital mandala art online, because although it is different tools that they use to make these on a computer digitally, we can still achieve a lot of these patterns with the tools that we have. So I've really been liking studying these and just learning new patterns from them. Like this, we could totally get this shape using dots, and yeah, anyways, these are kind of the colors that we'll be doing. So I always pull my colors and don't really know if we will use them all, or if we will add anything else. So I'll just show you what I've pulled. I don't know if I'm going to be using all of them, but we have purple Pizazz, magenta, purple cow, carousel pink, petal pink, and white pearl. And then flash metallics in the color magenta, and violet. So traditional purples that I've used in the past, like the darker purples, they all dry super dark, and I just really want all of these to be really vibrant and really stand out. So that is why I picked some of these kind of lighter, more vibrant colors. And yeah, there's a lot of pink in there, but I'm just gonna make sure to make purple the primary color and then pink as kind of the accent colors. So I'm pretty much gonna use these as is, so I'm not gonna be mixing any. So I'm not going to pour them all yet. We'll just kind of pour them as we go. But we can start by drawing our guide marks. I'm still just having my coffee. It's 4th of July today, but early in the morning. Okay, so if you guys have been following this series, this is the last video in the series, and if you've watched the other ones, you've seen how I find the center of my board, which is the same way that I do the circles. But someone just mentioned in my comments yesterday that if you make diagonal lines right through the corners, that will give you the center, which is so much easier than what I've been doing, and I wish that I would have figured this out sooner. So we are going to do it that way today. Let's see if it works, because we also will need to put our stencil on top. So I'm just going from corner to corner. And then that should be our center. So yes, whoever let me know in the comments, thank you. I wish that I would have realized this sooner. So then we want to get the stencil lined up on the center and then on each diagonal guide mark that we just made, and then we will just fill in the rest. Oops. Way easier. Now I wish I would have done this on all the videos, but what can you do? Nothing now, so lessons learned. So now we are just going to extend out the remaining guide marks. Okay, so much easier. So there are our vertical guide marks, and now we are going to, I just need that stencil again. Just popping that over the center. And then we're just gonna make one set of lines. And these are just a tad bit longer than 1 centimeter. So I'm just going to extend these out. I'm just going slightly above the 1 centimeter mark, or 1 centimeter, yep. And then we'll take our pencil and I like to really push it down and make a hole. And then we're just putting it over that first line and extending the circle. And we are going to do that for each line. Oop, I need to move these paints. So that one got off a little bit, which is okay. Okay, and there we have our guide marks, and now we can get started. So I don't know why. I always put my paint in like order from dark to light, but this one we're gonna do purple to pink. I just like to have them all lined up. So I'm actually gonna start with the center dot being pink. So I'm using the Flash Metallic Magenta and the size 15.5 dotting rod. And I'm just gonna grab a paper towel to clean our tool off with. So I'm just testing out the consistency. These flash paints tend to be a little bit on the thicker side. I'm just gonna try this and see. That works perfect. So it's a good circle. It just has that little ripple. So I'm just going to add more paint. Again, this paint is really thick, but I'm going to smooth it out with a dotting rod, or dotting stylus tool. Okay. I will zoom this in just a tad. So I'm going to actually start with pink and then go out to the purple. Pink is a little bit lighter, so it will hopefully have a little bit of that glowy effect. I'm gonna start with the pearl. And I'm going to use the large end of the yellow stylus tool. And we will just make our first row of dots. Excuse me. So these ones we just want to get close to one another without touching, because we don't want our paint to run together. And then we're just getting it right up against the pink dot without touching it. And we are just doing our best to make these all the same size. I don't count these, there's no specific number. We just want to focus on doing our best to make them the same size. And if you notice that they are starting to get larger because the paint is building up on the tool, then just wipe your tool off and that will help. A little bit of awkward spacing there, so I just squeezed in a little one to fit. So on the next row, I'm gonna go up to the large end of the white tool. And since the spacing's off, we're not necessarily gonna go between each dot. I mean, we can start it out that way and then it might get off a little bit, but I'm going to use the Petal Pink next. And the large end of the white stylus tool. So I'm just starting a new row. I'm not going between each row or each dot from the previous row. If you did want to go in between each dot from the previous row, then you'll probably need a smaller tool. But my spacing on the previous row is a little bit off, so I'm just starting a new one. Hopefully this one will be better. So that spacing was better. The dots did get a little bit bigger over here, but it's not super noticeable. Now I'm gonna go up to the large end of the blue tool and we will grab the Carousel Pink. And now I can probably dot in between each dot from the previous row. I'm just gonna pour a little bit more pink. I know we are starting off significantly pink, but I promise it will go into more purple. Now we're gonna go to magenta. And we're gonna go up to the large end of the green tool. And we are just going in between each dot from the previous row. And I'm gonna do one more row using purple Pizazz. This is a new bottle, so I just wanna make sure it's shaken up nice and good. I love this color. It's one of my favorite purple colors. Okay, we're gonna use the large end of the green tool again. Actually, I realized I'm gonna use the Happy Dotting Company stylus, so S4, which is slightly larger than the green tool. If you don't have this, you can just use the large end of the green tool again. And I'm just doing that tapping motion to unload more paint, and that will make the dots bigger. I definitely need more paint. I really load up my tools with a lot of paint. That looks really pretty. I love the colors, the spacing is good. Very happy so far. So once this last layer dries a little bit, we will go back through and just do some little micro dots. But for now, we are going to move on, and let me just think here what color I want to do next. So I'm gonna grab the violet and the number 5 dotting rod, and we are going to dot on every other guide mark. So I actually changed my mind. Sorry. We are going to go back through and dot on the other vertical guide marks. And then I'm going to get the purple cow. And the large end of the blue tool. Actually, we're gonna go down to the large end of the white tool. And we're just gonna dot at the tip of each large purple dot we just made. And we're just doing these all on the vertical guide marks, keeping everything nice and lined up. And then I'm gonna flip it over and use the small end of the white tool. And we are just going to, we could even use a brush here. I'm gonna try both and see what I like better. So with the tool, you can just dot and drag. I actually don't know that we have enough space to use a brush, so we will just dot and drag all of these. So we're just going right along the edge of the metallic purple dots that we made. Okay, so I just grabbed one more purple. This is Dioxazine Purple. So Purple Rain is purple, but it is also kind of a little bit more pinky, so magenta. So I'm going to I want like a more true purple, and then I'm gonna lighten it up by adding some Purple Cow. And we'll see what color this gives us. I'm gonna add some more. Okay, so just another purple tone. And that is what I'm going to use right here. We're gonna do some little swooshes going in between each petal we just made to fill in that gap. So I'm using the large end of the green tool to make a dot in between the patterns that we just made, the petals. And then I'm gonna flip it over. Nice and slowly use that small end to drag these all the way down. And I'm just grabbing from the bottom, so not really from the middle, because I just want a lot of control over these. And then I'm doing these little dragging motions. And let's see here. I want to do some little micro dots. I'm just trying to decide what color. I think either Purple Cow or Pearl. Let's do Purple Cow. So I'm using the small end of the pink tool. And I'm just going to go do some little micro dots. I'm gonna take the Carousel Pink and the number 6 dotting rod. And I'm gonna dot on every other guide mark, but I want to make sure that we have a dot going north, south, east, west, just because I like having the petal pattern, I don't know, line up on those guide marks. So we're just gonna start on that one. And then go every other. And I'm gonna grab the large end of the yellow stylus tool and the pearl. And we're just gonna dot at the tip and then walk the dots down. And next I'm going to take the large end of the green tool and the Petal Pink. And I'm going to do a large dot at the tip. Just right on that vertical guide mark. And that will keep everything nice and lined up. And then I'm going to flip the tool over and just use the small end of the green tool. And the same color, and we're just going to walk the dots down. Okay, now we're going to do some brush strokes. I'm going to use this 2/0 medium bristle brush. And I'm going to use the Magenta. And pushing down and then lightening up on the pressure towards the tip. And we're just going to outline all of these petals. And then we are going to do a double brush stroke, so we will be doing another brush stroke around this one. So you just want to make sure you're leaving enough space in there and that between each petal for another set of brush strokes. If you guys are still struggling with brush strokes, I have a whole course on brush strokes that is linked in the description of the video. If you are interested, definitely check that out. I'm using the large end of the white tool and the pearl and just dotting at the tip of the petal and walking the dots down just along the tip there. And we're going to do that on each petal. Next, we're going to do our second set of brush strokes using that same brush, 2/0 and purple Pizazz. And each brush stroke is just ending on the same guide mark. And we will just do this for each petal. Okay, so we are just going to do some swooshes here. So I'm going to take, let's see. I'm going to take this lighter purple color and the large end of the green tool. And we're going to dot. You can see all the petals end on this guide mark. So we're going to dot right below that guide mark so that all this previous pattern is all ending on the same guide mark. And that will set us up for our next pattern. And then I'm gonna take the lighter purple color, Purple Cow, and the same dotting rod or stylus, the large end of the green stylus. And we're gonna make another dot. These ones are just slightly shorter. And then flipping it over and using the small end to drag down. And I'm just gonna pour a little bit more. And then I'm gonna use the small end of the green tool, and yeah, we can use this pink, Carousel Pink. Actually, no, I wanna use Petal Pink, so the lighter pink. And the small end of the green tool, and we are just going to dot and drag some small swooshes in that last little gap there. Now, let's see. We are going to do that really swoopy pattern. So where the swoops go all the way around, and then we'll go the alternating direction. These are really tedious and time consuming, but I think they'll be really pretty. So I just need to decide what color. I think we will start with Purple Pizazz and the small end of the green tool. So we'll just start here, going up. And then we're just kind of eyeballing the spacing and remembering that we're gonna have another swoop that's gonna start up here and go down in that little gap. So you just want to leave a good amount of space in between. And then we are just doing our best to get these nice and straight. So you want to start on a guide mark. That'll keep these nice and straight, because sometimes they start to curve a little bit. And then when you get to the next guide mark, you just want to make sure that it's parallel. And we're going between two sets of guide marks. And then we are going to do this pattern all the way around. Okay, so just that row took about 10 minutes. So we're gonna go back and go the opposite direction. And yeah, this is like a 20-minute row pattern. So now, I think I'm gonna go down in size. It's about the same size. So I'm gonna try the small end of the yellow tool. And I'm just looking from above, trying to decide what color I wanna do. I think I'm gonna do the Petal Pink. So these ones are just starting at the opposite end. So make a dot and then drag down into that little gap. And we are gonna do this all the way around. So those are a labor of love for sure. Looks cool though. I'm just real quickly going to add some little micro dots using the pearl. I'm going to dot at the tip of the purple, swoosh, and then just walk these dots outward. So I still don't like all that black space there, so I'm gonna take this pink metallic and the same tool, and I'm gonna just test some little swoops. Let me just test it real quick. I kind of like that. Let me do a couple more. So just kind of filling in that blank space. Okay, so I'm just gonna do some top dots real quickly. I'm gonna take this size 4.5 and this purple color, and I'm gonna top dot over the pink. Once that dries, I will do one more top dot with the lighter purple color. And I'm also just gonna take a small brush. I'm gonna do some top brush strokes real quick. So I'm using this 2/0 brush, and I'm just gonna get the light purple. And I'm just gonna go over this. Actually, yeah, let me do one more. That works. So we're gonna go over all of these purple pizzazz. We're just going right through the center. We're not covering it completely. We're just adding a little highlight. Okay. So now I want to make sure that we add some mirrors, because each piece in this series is going to have mirrors. So I'm just placing the mirror shape, and I'm just going to outline this. And I'm just trying to decide if I want every other or every. Just 1 second while I think in my head. We will do every guide mark. Okay, and now we are going to walk the dots around all of these diamonds. So I'm using the large end of the blue stylus tool and the pearl, and we are going to walk the dots along the edge of each diamond pattern. So we're pretty much just outlining it. And we will do that for each diamond all the way around the board. Okay, and now we're gonna do some brush strokes. I'm gonna use that same brush, the 2/0. So I won't be able to fit many brush strokes here. Maybe only 2. So I'm gonna start with Magenta. And I'm just starting right at the guide mark that the pearl dots started at. Next, I'm going to use the purple Pizazz. And I'm gonna make some nice thick brush strokes. Shorter than the last ones that we did. Okay, now I'm going to do some swooshes. using the purple cow. So I'm using the large end of the green tool, and I'm just going to dot and then use the small end to drag down. And we're going to be mirroring this swoosh. So we're going to be doing the same thing on going both directions. Like that, and then we may just do like a little pearl dot there in the center to close that gap, but we will first go ahead and do that all the way around the board. And this paint is a little bit on the runny side, and I like for it to be a little bit thicker when I do these. So I'm just gonna add a drop of gel medium. This is the one I like to use. I just want to thicken it up just a tad. That should help. Okay, and while we have this purple color, I'm just going to top dot. And I'm gonna grab the pink metallic, and I might need a bigger dotting rod. Let me think what size. I'm gonna try the large end of the white tool. And I'm just gonna do some little walking the dots on either side of that light purple swoosh. Now we are going to move to the corners. I'm actually going to use this pink and actually I'm going to use the size 10 dotting rod and the metallic pink. And I'm just dotting right on that vertical guide mark. I will smooth these out with a dotting stylus tool. It is a little bit thick. Okay, I'm gonna do the light pink and the large end of the yellow stylus tool. And we are just going to walk the dots. And I'm going to use the large end of the green tool. If your paint is starting to dry out, you can just mix it up to moisten it or add a drop of water. And then I'm going to flip this over and use the smaller end to walk the dots. And we're gonna do some brush strokes. So I'm taking the 2/0 brush and what color? Let's do, let's do the light purple. I want it to be a little bit thicker than that. I was playing with this design idea earlier, kind of like this. So I kind of want to try it out on here. I don't know if it'll look good, so maybe just let me try it first and then we can decide if we want to keep it or do something different. But basically just a bunch of little swooshes going around. And I'm gonna use the purple Pizazz. That tool is too big. I'm gonna flip it over and use the small end. I think that looks pretty cool and it goes with the other swooshes that we did. Let's try the other side. What do we think? It's a little different. I kind of like it. I'm gonna take this other purple color and just do a swoosh around it. I think it looks pretty cool. Why not? Okay, so we're just gonna do that on every pattern. Okay, so now we have all those swooshes on each petal. So now I'm taking the 2/0 brush and just doing some swooshes around that pattern. Just kind of outlining it to give it more of that petal shape. And now I'm just gonna fill in those little edges with some brush strokes. And let's see, let's do purple Pizazz. Same brush, I'm gonna do Magenta. We're just kind of filling in this little gap right here. And next we're gonna do the Carousel Pink. And just one more swoosh, but I'm gonna use the Petal Pink, which is the pinkest one. I'm gonna pour some new because that one is really thick. And this will be our last brush stroke. I'm gonna do this one nice and thick. And I'm just gonna bring it out a little bit further and then just kind of squeeze it in that little gap there. Okay. Now let's think here. I want to do some little top brush strokes. I think I will use this lighter pink color. Let me just try it and see what it looks like over the magenta. I think that looks good and kind of brightens it up a bit. So I'm just being careful not to put my hand on wet paint. But you can definitely just wait until this dries to do this part, because we're kind of running out of space to rest our wrist. Okay, I'm gonna take the magenta, the pink metallic, and the large end of the green tool, and I'm going to dot in between those two swooshes and just kind of fill in that little gap there. So I'm actually going to walk some dots here. So I'm going to use the large end of the green tool to make a larger dot up at the tip. And then just walk some dots down in that little gap there. And then I just want to finish filling out this little area right here. So I'm going to use the large green tool and the purple color and just dot here. Okay, so everything is pretty much filled in now. I think I've done all the top brush strokes that I want. I think, you guys know I always end up changing my mind. But yeah, I think that looks pretty good. So we will let this dry and then varnish or remove the guide marks, varnish, and then we will be done. Okay, this is dry, so we can now erase the guide marks. But before that, I did add a couple things off camera. I know it's really annoying, but I found this color that I forgot I had, which is Purple Pearl, which is a really pretty lighter metallic purple color. And I just added some top brush strokes to this stroke here, all the way around, and then also on the purple swooshes here, and then some top dots on those darker purple to lighten them up. So that is what we have now. And I just grabbed my Pampers wet wipes. And we are just gently going to start erasing the guide marks. Okay, so I'm so tempted to go do little teeny swooshes right here in a lighter color. I think I'm just gonna do one and see if I like it, and if not, I can just wipe it off. But it's just looking a little bit dark in this space, so I just feel like it needs to be lightened up a tad. Probably with the light pink, or that's not the light pink, Petal Pink. And I'm using the small end of the yellow stylus tool. So I'm just looking at this one compared to the others, and I think that really helps a lot to lighten it up. So this is totally optional. You can just skip this part if you'd like, but I feel like it really just lightens this area up. Okay, so that was out of our normal order, but I feel like adding that little detail really helped a lot. I have already varnished this. So I varnished this using 2 coats of Krylon Crystal Clear varnish. And now we're going to glue on our mirrors using Gorilla Glue Super Glue Gel. And I am just going to do a dot of glue. Okay, we now have the mirrors on, and I am going to take this outside and get some video of it. But overall, super happy with how it turned out. Love the pink. Yeah, this was awesome. And here is the final design. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial, and I just wanted to say thank you so much for being a Patreon subscriber, and we will see you guys in the next video.